Oh, well, it's something completely brand new to me. I mean, as a musician, it's a phenomenal experience to come into. It's like going in a spaceship and going to another planet. In terms of music, I'm out of conventional and normal music or musicology. It's almost as if the sky's the limit with what you are able to achieve with the kind of music that you create. And for me, that is an amazing discovery, to hear instruments I've never heard of before. Sounds. I mean, to me, I know instruments. I know trombones, I know trumpets, I know violins and violas, and I know drums and timpani. But all these instruments that, for example, Murkoff was playing or creating through an incredible sound system, I've never heard of them before.
The festival itself seems incredibly, the people involved in it seem incredibly committed to the idea of trying to promote fairly advanced and not, fairly esoteric ideas of sonic art, digital music, electronic music, instrumental music, people who are dealing with pure sound in ways that is still very experimental, so this is not easy art that we're talking about. So it's the experience at the moment, I'm still processing it all. But it's very positive. Yeah. And Nikolai Albinotto is very interested in how mathematics as a basis for structuring not only ways of processing sound, but our understanding of the entire universe is based in mathematics, and he is very much involved in using mathematics as a way of generating visual imagery and sonic imagery and so on, and maybe suggesting how these things link in with the systems of our understanding of the natural world and so on. Even though his music can appear the most unnatural thing on the planet, the most machine-like music. Murkoff and Felix Kubin, again, they're processing sound, that's what they're about, in interesting ways. And even though aesthetically, or philosophically, or politically, or whatever, they can be poles apart, I think what binds them together is that they are very highly advanced sonic architects, if you like, or manipulators of sound, and I think that's what makes it reasonable to put all those people on the same bill. I think if you put, in the past, experimental music festivals have very much been based on genre. So you'd have an improvised music festival and everyone is kind of working from the same platform and the same ideas. And it can be interesting, but at the same time, it's much more, it can be even more interesting to throw people together who maybe don't complement each other. They maybe even contradict each other. Maybe they come in at the world from different perspectives, but I think it makes for a much more interesting and engaging event if you are presented with lots of different worldviews to try and process and deal with. I'm speaking myself as a listener, as someone who's sitting in the audience. I don't want to see three Murkoffs, I want to see Albinotto followed by Murkoff followed by Felix Kubin.
And I decided to make my own punk rock song out of 36 of my favorite older punk rock songs. So this is a new punk rock song that I've never played before, ever. I'm just playing it for tonight, and then after this I'm going to delete the files. I'm going to scratch all the CDs. It's going to not exist anymore.
The kind of people who come to festivals like Madeiradig or your festival, they're usually people who they're active people, they're movers and shakers, as they say in the UK. So they're not just punters, they don't just come and go away and talk about it. They come and they're inspired and they go away, and maybe they start doing stuff in their own town or their own city. So I think at this festival, most of the people I've met at this festival are doing something else somewhere. So they may have come to experience the festival, but they're like running a website in Berlin, or they're running a venue in Paris, or something like that. You know, so they're kind of active in the culture and in the wider culture of this electronic art that we're all interested in. And so they come here and they're inspired, and they take that away, and then the network, the stuff that they do in their hometown becomes more intense. The network becomes stronger, and all of a sudden you have this small organisations, but lots of them, adding up to a lot of activity, rather than big fuck-off festivals. That's how you generate real activity and real interest, I think. So I think, yeah, the way to scale up things is not to make them bigger, but to make them more intense and make more of them. You know, there should be an M festival or a Madeiradig in every town, every city in Europe. It's not going to happen, but you know, maybe.
Ihr seid nicht wirklich hier. Ihr seid nicht wirklich hier. Denn nichts ist wirklich hier. Ihr seid nicht wirklich hier. Ihr seid nicht wirklich hier. You are not really here. 'Cause nothing is really here. Double duck! Double duck! Double duck!
Last night here in Madeiradig was a prime example. You had Felix Kubin play. So Felix Kubin is not everyone's favourite artist, but it forces you as a listener to actually think about what you're watching. Obviously you can just say, that's crap, and walk out, but if you stay, you have to think about it. And you get a bit contaminated by what this guy is trying to say to you, how he's saying it, what he's saying, what it means, and so on. And what it does is it's about making you think a bit. You know, it's making you sort of exercise your imagination, exercising your intellect to try and work out what on earth it is you're looking at. And that can only be a positive thing. And I think people who come to festivals like Madeiradig are those kind of people. You know, they don't come just to party, they don't just come just to be entertained and then walk away and take nothing from the experience. I think they want to be changed a bit by it. Maybe they don't know it, but I think they can be changed by it. You know. So yeah, that's another reason why I think small festivals like this are crucial, you know, because it basically changes people, which is, you know, hopefully that can be a way of making the world a slightly better place, just a slightly better place. Not a massively better place, but just a bit. I would hope anyway, you know.
Wir rufen dich an, Kopernikus. Prosimy, prosimy, Kopernika. Denn die Erde ist flach und das Leben ist kurz. Bo ziemia jest płaska, a życie krótkie.
The best art forces you to think and get engaged with what the hell is going on in front of you. But obviously there are only a certain amount of people in the world who are prepared to make that commitment to this stuff, for whom music is that important, that it can be a revelation to them. For most people, music is kind of just a social thing, which is fine, absolutely, you know, that's totally an understandable thing. But for some of us, people like me and you know, the sort of freaks of this world, where music is suddenly this thing which is actually, it's not just a social thing, it matters more than that. It can be a life-changing experience. There's always going to be only a small amount of people who appreciate that. And so if you try and present a festival like Madeiradig, for instance, and you try and scale it up from a venue that maybe holds 100 people to one that holds 1,000 people, you're going to fail, because there are not that many people in the world who are prepared to make the commitment to the kind of advanced experimental art that Madeiradig wants to put in front of people. it's always a struggle, but the struggle is part of the process.